de Rijksdienst voor Ondernemend Nederland.
Hello, my name is Bert Keesman. I have my company Metasus. I work on the promotion of exports and international cooperation in waste and circular economy. And I am the coordinator of the Partners for International Business Program, Waste and Circular Economy between the Netherlands and South Africa. Now imagine that you are an entrepreneur in waste and circular economy and you're interested whether South Africa could be a market for you. Wouldn't it be great if you could talk to a person who is completely immersed in the sector in South Africa, an expert? Well, I have good news for you. We have that expert today with us, and that is Richard Emery. He's the director of JG Afrika, and he is the so-called liaison, our representative in South Africa for the PIB program. Richard, welcome to this broadcast.
No, thank you very much. Fantastic. I'm really glad you offered and let me have this opportunity to talk to you. Certainly on behalf with my South African hat on, and I loved your words, being immersed in solid waste. I do feel often we are drowning in it.
Yes, I can imagine.
So here we are, and let's try to figure out how we can actually move forward with just improving what we have, yeah?
Yes.
So I'm here today really just to talk to you about South Africa, help build on that understanding of the challenges we have, certainly under the context of solid waste and under the context of circular economy. Circular economy being the ultimate goal, and it's a nice, fantastic, fancy set of words. And really what does it mean is we're really just trying to live in a world where there is no waste. There's a bit of a biomimicry type action to it, where we really want to do things better.
Yes.
But how do we get there? How do we do it? So let me just tell you a bit about South Africa and how we can structure the collaboration between us, that we can just make those steps forward towards that better economy. So really, South Africa itself there's no lack of policy. It's a country that's embraced international law, international best practice, international policies, regulations, learnership, research.
Yes.
And certainly they've grown and developed a lot of the regulation. And it's wonderful in that regard. The crunch comes in is obviously translating this into bankable and implementable projects, turning it into a system where one can find the funding, the necessary funding, because the world has funding. It's just how does one attract it to the need to reach circular economy and to get there faster. Mm-hmm. So certainly South Africa is in that little state where we are moving towards it. Are we moving fast enough? I think most people tell you no.
Okay.
But certainly we've made excellent strides in actually being reputable in how we do things, the regulations we follow, and how we move forward. We also have the challenge, obviously, of our socio-economic situation, where South Africa has a vast diversity in culture, in backgrounds, in history. It's rich in history, we all know that.
Yes.
We also have the challenges of different income groups, different levels of affordability.
Yeah.
And with that then comes different levels of compliance and how we can just improve in that regard. Mm-hmm. So, I introduced a slide here too, which I really just enjoyed, where at the moment South Africa is very much driven to manage waste through disposal.
About how many percent, you think?
It keeps changing and it's subject to change, but
yes.
One can always labor around the point of 80 to 90%, I would say, of waste by mass that's generated is still finding its way to landfill.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, sitting with a positive hat on, that we are managing to divert or find a home for 10% plus of waste material, or turning waste into a material of use. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously from a circularity point of view, we want to do more of that. Yep. But yes, it's very much dominant. Collect, transport, dispose. we need to move away from that. But I thought this slide was great, saying, with all this burying of waste going on, what are landfills? What does it really mean to us? And in the next 100, 200 years, future archaeologists were to dig through our landfills, what story would they tell about us as humanity, as humans? I mean, they'd probably sit back there and go, why? What is all this in the ground? And
the plastic era.
Yeah, exactly. And we all know, I mean, I've done some waste mining in my life.
Okay.
Whether you want to take that informally as going to scratch around in landfills, which is thoroughly entertaining, but not recommended.
Right.
Otherwise, just actual formal mining and reputation. And it's amazing, after 10, 20, 30 years, you still pick up a piece of newspaper. You can still certainly pick up glass, plastics, and so on. Why are we finding this to landfill? But we're moving on to South Africa, and our biggest challenge at the moment is obviously airspace. Landfills work on airspace. We don't worry about them getting heavier, we about them getting fuller.
Right.
And a lot of them, certainly the metros, which tend to be the more municipal or local municipalities or metro municipalities that tend to have a lot more financial aid to themselves, they too are struggling to keep more than 10 years of actual airspace available, which is problematic.
Right.
Because it takes so long to actually identify new sites, assuming that we don't get circularity sooner. And assuming that doesn't happen, you just need to constantly have at the ready that airspace as that default solution. And that's very much the space we're at. And South Africa is growing in that space. The changes that they make are in that space. And JG Afrika is very much a country where we're involved in all elements of solid waste. So that's why it's a great opportunity for me to sit here with you today with the Netherlands and the Dutch companies and their learnership and what they've gained over the past millennia, to see how that can catapult South Africa forward, more so in what we've managed to achieve in the last 5-10 years, which has been, certainly in South Africa's context, in the last 5-10 years has been pivotal in the way we've managed solid waste. We've had huge amount of regulation change, introduction of extended producer responsibilities.
That's a start.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that, solid waste is very much, it's got that strong legislative environment, but we've got that uneven implementation, which I've carefully chosen those words.
Uneven.
Uneven.
That could mean a lot.
Some is and some is even. But yes, it depends where you walk and where you talk and who you meet. But the one thing that's common in South Africa is absolutely everyone from a government organization or private organization is really trying to expose the best of South Africa, South Africa's culture, the population, the people that we have, to try just improve on what we have. There's no doubt.
Right.
So the intent and the willingness, that's flawless across all sectors and all regions of South Africa. So we just need to build on that. And hence where I think the Netherlands and us working together in collaboration most definitely will add value, I think, going forward. So we've got the issue of our aging infrastructure, our equipment that we use on disposal sites or transfer stations or maintenance thereof. That's a definite challenge, our depleting airspace. But it's not our policy, it's just the capacity and the skills constraints that allow us to move forward, coupled with the financial support to help us move forward. And it's not always a question of the discussions we were having previously is how much money would Netherlands bring to South Africa, but the cost of doing things differently and how that cost can be supported by bringing in alternative partners from the Netherlands as example, and their related funders if there are any, but even just the partners alone help build efficiency potentially and build the experience and knowledge for us to do things differently, which in turn into a monetary saving. So that isn't always just a matter of rands and cents or euros. It's a matter of just also doing things differently that we can capitalize and rather be less wasteful, excuse the pun, with our financial means and within the monies that we do have available already. So that efficiency is going to be very exciting, I think, if potentially. So financial sustainability, the operational performance, It's there. At the moment, our key focus always is license and compliance. So as I said earlier, it's not policy alone. So you find a lot, certainly from the private sector, there's the ability and having that skilled capacity to really manage and maintain service delivery.
Yes.
Okay, that being the actual obligation. That is always an
obligation of the municipalities.
Correct.
Yeah,
Quite right.
Yeah.
Because they need to achieve certain targets. They need to achieve a certain service delivery component,
Right.
which is collect and transport, and trying to avoid disposal. But it's not their mandate necessarily. But it's within the constraints. Like I say, policy and regulations there is a great driver to get us forward. But that alone is not going to help us move forward there. It needs the capabilities, it needs the people, it needs the collaboration, it needs the partnerships, and that way one actually moves forward. It's been very obvious in the last 5-10 years, and even in the last 2 years, we've noticed a lot more attention being paid to public-private partnerships in South Africa.
Okay, well, that
Framework's
sounds good.
there, the legislation's there, our National Treasury recognizes it, and larger scale projects are required to really start addressing this voluminous amount of material called waste at the moment, where we wish it wasn't because it shouldn't be there, but as long as it is there, you need that component and you need that partnerships.
Sounds like we're coming at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just finding that space and gap where that collaboration can happen, or that partnership. So that's very much there. So the challenge that might find with Dutch companies, and certainly from the Netherlands, is South Africa itself has a very strong procurement policy and framework.
Okay.
A Municipal Systems Act legislation to drive the way government entities operate.
Yes.
With partnerships, with contracts, with service level agreements, with outsourcing the opportunity for private sector or collaboration to join as part of their service delivery mechanisms. So that may hinder Dutch companies from just coming straight into South Africa and participating in its sense.
Well, I can imagine. I mean, you need a local partner to do that.
I think so. It's, you know, like every new venture, whether it is a new venture, because some Dutch companies already do exist in South Africa, and understandably so. All we're doing here is promoting and enhancing what's there already and really building on that. So they already would have a story to tell. But from my side, if I was sitting here with a international hat on, looking to invest in South Africa or participate in South Africa economically or even in a business sense, immediately if you're looking and depending on public tenders coming out, those tenders are often met with elements of eligibility, functionality, trying to promote local business, South African business, small micro enterprises from growing and developing and benefiting from these contractual opportunities. But so that really aims to promote and encourage and help develop job creation in all levels in South Africa, because that's obviously a key and a crunch item and a very necessary item for us.
That's an important thing to keep in mind. So in general, would you recommend Dutch companies to focus more on the public sector or on the private sector as clients, so to say?
I think if you're a new business coming into South Africa, there's a lot of turnover when it comes to investment and growth and contractual opportunities when it comes to the private sector. But it's met with those hindrances to whether you would be successful or not in actually getting a contract with a private sector party because of these criteria. But then the default or knee-jerk reaction is to say, well, then collaborate with local parties. And collaborate with those companies that already exist in South Africa or active in the South African economy, helping promote the South African economy, and to work with them as part of their opportunities working with the public sector, certainly as a start. And then from there, as one develops and grows in that space, so too with the exposure come the opportunity to see how they could continue to add value to South Africa and the market in South Africa. Because the key thing South Africa needs is certainly economic growth, job creation, and skills transfer and investment. I mean, those are just the critical elements. And that's really where the crux is. And that assigns itself directly to solid waste and circular economy. So those are the areas. So if I was a Dutch company too, and you're focusing very much on government or public entities, collaborate, find those other private companies or other partners and work together with them, at least initially. Private sector tend to do business differently. They're less constrained with certainly service mechanisms and functionality and eligibility criteria, but they still have the obligation to perform under South African law.
There you go.
And certainly with the obligation of recognizing the need for South African engineering, South African scientists, environmental scientists, and specialist companies to perform and sign off and adopt any planning. And certainly the engineering societies or the environmental societies that actually exist. So with the private sector, it's a lot more one-on-one and direct collaboration and opportunities, and turnarounds are different, and private sector operates differently. You know, they have different levels of affordability, different levels of efficiency, and knowledge and the ability to chop and change a fair bit quicker. Positive in some ways and negative in other ways.
Okay.
But yes.
So it's the answer basically is both. Focus
both
on both. Yeah.
Sorry, that is a very long answer.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So then, so on that, and preparing this sort of slide where it talks about the gaps in for Netherlands businesses or Dutch companies, certainly the waste beneficiation and high recovery systems. That's a technical area where sorting, treatment, organics, refuse-derived fuels, advanced processes. Dutch companies and European companies are very well exposed to that and have been for decades.
Yes.
In varying degrees. South Africa's in that space where it recognizes it needs to start growing into the space. With the priority based on our hierarchy, we want to avoid, obviously, working all our way through to treatment or incineration. We really want to try focus on the recovery, reuse, and avoidance, obviously, of materials. So that's very much the focus and where we spend our energy at the moment, which is also a very active economy in the Netherlands. I saw some of your partners do exist in this space, certainly from the PIB, so it's a very exciting and relevant collaboration that exists there. The other one is systems design. There's a lot of public entities, less on the private sector, where data-driven analysis, data management, dashboard analysis, collecting information, systems thinking, how to apply your data knowledge into strategic planning and to how to bring in the circular economy is critical. And also I mentioned the word uneven earlier. This is very uneven in South Africa. Some are excellent, but some really need a lot of help in that.
I noticed Green Cape, for instance, is fantastic in publishing data on basically the waste management sector.
Correct.
But that is maybe for mostly for the Western Cape, and data is not available for other parts, maybe.
No, correct. I think they almost mine data. They're very active in that space, and it's their mandate. They really want to facilitate that industry involvement.
Fantastic.
And they do a great job.
I was impressed.
And then also South Africa's entering into a stage where contracts is not necessarily just to design and monitor construction and allow someone to construct and then it reverts back to the private or typically the public sector to actually operate. There's an element because of the skills and how complex diverting or beneficiation of waste materials is becoming, so too does the public sector and any sector realize that that skill set is starting to become quite specialized. So the contracting mechanisms are changing. It's not just straight design and construction monitoring. It's now you get different types. The FIDIC documents, suite of documents. You get the yellow, you get the gold, you get the red book, etc. So too do we have elements in South Africa where it's build, own, operate, transfer mechanisms. And those are less obvious or less experienced in South Africa. And that's a lot more of an opportunity where I think Dutch companies have been operating in a while, where you are invested into a contract opportunity for a far longer period, and that investment and involvement extends into operations and beneficiation of the waste materials.
Yeah.
And that is a very exciting space that exists. So certainly from a Dutch business point of view, you want to focus on those areas where it comes skills transfer, data management, operations, etc. AI is also another element. We've got AI, the world's got AI. We've got AI in all different forms. Some love it, some hate it, some use it dangerously, some use it suitably. But the point is, it's another tool.
Yes. It might at some point be a little contradictory to job creation.
Correct.
So there is a bit of a...
So it's exactly that.
Tension there.
It's a bit like designing a material recovery facility. You can come and you want high efficiency.
Yes.
You design this facility, which is highly mechanized, but it has very little job creation.
Well, there you go.
Involvement of job creation.
Yeah.
So how does that really benefit South Africa? It benefits us from obviously trying to divert, but it does not benefit us from job creation.
Yes.
So it's always that marriage between we need to move forward, but we cannot forget the fact that we need to, as a society and as implementers of projects, need to take that into concern, that socio-economic benefit, that social return.
That's good to keep in mind for the Dutch companies.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Okay.
I shared this slide, which I actually presented at a conference once upon a time, where I actually exactly that topic, saying, well, where do we sit as a business, as private sector, as government, as municipalities, as waste reclaimers? Because there's so much to do.
Yes.
You know, where are our skills and strengths? And very much as Dutch companies, one would look at the role of industry, I think, which would be my sort of grey block here in a way, where I think there's a lot of extended producer responsibility, bulk transfer, logistics, learnership, education initiatives, recycling infrastructure or awareness, sustainable designs, research, development. Those are definitely areas. And once again, I always find the challenge comes in is where you are diverting waste from landfill, you need to have your market ready to benefit from receiving that material.
That's right.
And I think from Dutch companies, you got a very good sense of the European community, certainly the East Asia countries. South Africa businesses do too, but in a far limited sense, I believe. But certainly there's a fair amount of export, etc., that does happen from South Africa.
Yes. Interesting.
There's room. If there's room for more exposure, there's room for more benefit, because circularity is not a local or municipal or regional or national function. It has to be addressed on an international footprint. There's no ways you can just actually look at your local economic zone and expect that to deal and resolve your challenges. It's not in a waste sector and not in a materials sector too. So, so I think Dutch companies would very much like to look at those. I presented one slide here, which is our JG Afrika slogan. We coined this phrase, Pent A. Which tends to...
Interesting.
which tends to, as a tool we use to really help ask the questions of saying, Pent A being the 5 A's. And if you look at any challenges that exist, if you look at the challenge and say, how is it going to be applicable? I mean, is it suitable to South Africa as a local condition solution? Is it appropriate to our local policy and frameworks? Is it achievable? I mean, can you implement whatever it is you're trying to propose and move forward with as a solution? Is it acceptable socially and environmentally? I want to do this, I want to build that, or I want to create this element of awareness. You know, is it actually acceptable? And is it affordable? I think affordable is always the key thing. We all think that money can solve everything. And certainly in South Africa, I think affordability is very different to here in the Netherlands and very different to Europe. But it still doesn't matter. The point is there's that element of affordability, but the element of also being more efficient and doing things more correctly. So we always use that as a bit of an acid test at JG Afrika.
Interesting.
And we tried to promote that certainly in a lot of our business interactions. Because if you can tick all those 5 boxes, I think you A for away.
Well, and good guidance for the Dutch companies.
Well, I think so. And, you know, it brings us to the trip and the visit, you know, coming in later this year. And maybe you want to mention something quick about that?
Yeah, indeed. Well, we have a mission coming up, 18 to 22 May. We're going to be in Cape Town with the group of PIB companies, the 5 Dutch companies that are interested in doing business in South Africa. More can sign up. It's open. Brilliant. It's open for other Dutch companies also. There will also be another trade mission that we're going to do for the WasteCon, which you are very familiar with. The WasteCon conference in Johannesburg, 20 to 22 October coming up. And again, the Dutch cluster will present itself through a Netherlands pavilion. And there's room also for others to sign up and present themselves there. So there will be for the South African waste community a lot of opportunity to meet the Dutch. We will paint the country orange a little bit in the coming in the coming years.
That'd be brilliant.
Yes.
To that.
Yeah.
I do believe actually having that in person. There's plenty of online discussions that happen nowadays and conferences, etc. But I think having that one-on-one interaction and that discussion will go a very long way.
I guess in that sense we are a little old-fashioned, so we don't always want to do it by Teams or by Zoom or whatever. We want to actually meet the people, and I think that is the recipe to get to business and to cooperation. At least that has worked out very well so far.
I think also South Africa being a very social country. I think we like to pride ourselves in our friendliness and willingness. And I think that alone will add value. Maybe the relationships and the benefits will foster immediately. Maybe it'll happen over time. I do believe, give it time, it will happen.
And it might even be a springboard for business with other countries in Southern Africa. And I guess JG Afrika has quite some ties there also in activities.
Absolutely. Certainly as a company like ourselves and other South African companies, South Africa is an excellent springboard into other African countries. Certainly our neighbours and beyond. I think a lot of that development and African development pivots off South African infrastructure, our ability to have done business, our economic strength. And with that, even our neighbours, Namibia, Mozambique, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, etc., are all countries that we collaborate closely with, SADC regions. And for the last 20, 30, 40 and plus years, there's always been that collaborative effort to foster economic growth in southern and even northern Africa. So certainly having that culture is going to be good.
I noticed that at least in sub-Saharan Africa, South Africa is really looked upon as a reference country, as the place where it happens initially and a guidance to be followed. So
I think so. Especially with our cultural diversity. That itself helps a huge amount in going a long way with reaching out to our partners and neighbours and other sub-Saharan countries.
Okay. Well, it has been extremely interesting talking to you, Richard. I think we have way more things to talk about, and we will, of course, because you are our liaison in South Africa, and we're very happy about that. We will, of course, continue with the Partners for International Business program. Actually, we just started in September. We signed the agreement September, and there is still space for other Dutch companies to sign up to that program, which is a fantastic opportunity. A great team. We have very enthusiastic to do business in South Africa, and of course the backing of the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, which will invest in the order of 350,000 euros into the program over the 3 years. That is a huge help, to get established in South Africa, to find partners in South Africa, and maybe also develop follow-up projects, feasibility studies, investment preparation. It's all there to use. And so we invite additional Dutch companies to participate in this Partners for International Business program, and maybe even join the May 18 to 22 mission to Cape Town. There is still room available. You're most welcome to join. Thank you very much for your attention and hope to see you in South Africa.
De Rijksdienst voor Ondernemend Nederland.